Kyle Busch to the Indy 500 just got a lot closer, and the on-again, off-again NASCAR street course, well, we get some definitive news on that. Let's talk about it. Coming up next. What's going on? Hope you're doing good today. All right, Kyle Busch to the Indy 500 seems to be getting really serious. The talks are getting really close. Let's take a look at this article from the Associated Press. The head of McLaren Racing held a town hall Thursday at its IndyCar shop to introduce a new hire, Brian Barnhart, to quell any concerns over this week's sudden departure of the team president. Zach Brown did not give a title for Barnhart, an industry veteran who spent the last season as a strategist for Alexander Rossi at Andretti Autosport. Rossi will be part of Arrow McLaren's expanded three-car lineup next season, and Barnhart will report to Brown. Brown told the Associated Press that he was still finalizing the structure of IndyCar's Arms senior management team, hiring like crazy. In advance of the additional third car, McLaren is also building a state-of-the-art shop in Indianapolis designed to be similar to its Formula One factory in England. And the team is in serious conversation about running a fourth Indianapolis 500 entry for NASCAR star Kyle Busch. The effort would likely be backed by Menards, as Busch, who last week left Toyota and Joe Gibbs Racing after 15 years to sign with Richard Childress Racing, has permission to compete in the Indy 500 with a Chevrolet team. All right, so we see there big news from McLaren. They're building a shop in Indianapolis. They've hired new people. That's not what we're concerned about on this channel. We're mainly NASCAR here, but it is cool to see that. But what started out as a tongue-in-cheek comment by Sam Smith has now gotten into some really serious talks where Kyle Busch not only is looking like he's going to race in the Indy 500, but in less than about 3 days, we also have a sponsor in Menards. Of course, this was a big hang-up for Kyle Busch. When he was with Toyota, he could not race the Indy 500. It was in his contract, and we talked about a few episodes ago, one of the things Kyle Busch wanted in his new contract was that he would not be restricted from racing any race, and that was a big part of his negotiations going forward. So it looks like the Kyle Busch to Indianapolis 500 thing is getting really real, but I want to touch on the last part of what we just said there. Kyle Busch, in 3 days, basically has lined up a sponsor for the Indy 500, and RCR just picked up Kyle Busch, and they have basically said that they have not had any trouble at all finding sponsors for Kyle Busch. And I think it is a fair question to ask, how did Joe Gibbs not secure a sponsor if they really wanted to keep Kyle Busch? So that, whatever you want to call it, conspiracy theory, whatever you want to call it, it adds fuel to that fire. So you can at least make the argument that maybe Joe Gibbs Racing did not want to keep Kyle Busch, especially if you look at his performance. They might have looked at his performance the last 3 years and say, look, he's not as good as he once was. You saw him lose his crew chief, Adam Stevens. He's been thrown around. A lot of people in the comments section have been saying it looks like he's driving the R&D car. That's why he's had the engine fail in 2 of his last 3 races. So I'm not saying that that is what's happened or that is what happened, but you definitely, at the very least, can make the argument that Joe Gibbs did not really want to keep Kyle Busch once the M&M sponsorship left. I'm not saying that that's how it is, but definitely can make that argument, can't you? All right, on to this next story, the NASCAR street course. It's on, it's off. It's been a lot of confusion about it because of the situation around it. Now, every time I talk about this, the video does poorly, so I'm not sure what words I'm using. So there are going to be some words I leave out. I'm going to leave out some people's names in here, but let's take a look at this article from Fran Spielman, Sun Times. It's too late to put the brakes on this person's plan for the road course on the street. A 12-turn, 2.2-mile showcase next July for the first street course race in NASCAR's 75-year history, an event that will tie up part of this area for 2 weeks. But downtown, this guy wants to make certain it never happens again, at least not without local people being notified and it being approved by them. At Wednesday's meeting, he made sure on his promise to try and rein in the virtually unbridled power of this person who has to sign off on large special events that take over parks for days or weeks at a time and block certain roadways and generally inconvenience local residents. Okay, so I'm not going to get into any of the stuff surrounding that, but there you go. We have the reason why that guy doesn't want the NASCAR race there. But more importantly, we are having the NASCAR race there, and the one that they're having next year looks like it is definitely on. You can't stop it. But going forward, it looks like the other future races that they plan on having there could be stopped up. So that could possibly be why on a previous episode we talked about Brian Kennedy's, or not Brian Kennedy. That's why on a previous episode we talked about Ben Kennedy's comments where basically it was said the Speedway is still in play. That's why they're still doing things to it. They're still making renovations to it. So that could be the reason that it stays in play if something falls through with future events. Like this article just said, the event happening next year in 2023 is still going to be good, but Speedway looks like it's going to be kept in play because of basically some unrest with, well, people I'm not going to mention because every time I do, the videos don't do well. So there's something about that whole story that is getting, shut down on this particular format. All right, that's all I got for you today. I will be in Martinsville for the late model stock car race, the Valley Star Credit Union 300 with Craig Moore and Jason Barnes. Craig Moore in the 1. Looks like the old number 3 Bass Pro Shops that Dale Earnhardt ran. Jason Barnes in the 28. Looks like the old Davey Allison Haviland. So this will be the last video. Don't know if I'll be able to make the live stream. I'm pretty sure I'll be wiped out. I'm basically kind of wiped out now. I don't know if you guys could tell this week, but I've been pretty exhausted. I will try to get to as many comments as I can, but it'll probably be after that race. So if you got a comment or question, leave it down in the comment section. I will get to them eventually. If I haven't earned your subscription, hopefully I'll earn it today. Really appreciate all the subscriptions, guys. It's really awesome and it helps out the channel a lot. And other than that, thanks for your time. Peace.